Welcome back. We're continuing the news. There's more uncertainty this afternoon about the country's COVID-19 vaccination program. This after the Ministry of Health cancelled the administering of vaccines for Monday and Tuesday. Now, reporter Shamila Pullen has been closely monitoring the developments. She was on the ground at the National Arena at the weekend, where scores of people, including seniors, were turned back after doses ran out. She now joins us live. Shamila, what's the latest?
Thanks, Gio. Well, some are calling it a vaccine crisis. The Ministry of Health says it isn't. In a release late Sunday night, the ministry advised that it will resume the full rollout of its vaccination program when shipments arrive. However, it will resume the inoculation for persons 50 years and older who are due their second dose on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Chairman of the National Health Fund, Howard Mitchell, says about 40,000 doses are expected over the next 7 days. He gave a breakdown of the scheduled vaccine shipments while speaking on Radio Jamaica's weekly news review program, That's a Wrap, on Sunday.
Within the next 3 days, we will get a small amount, 3,000 doses. And within the next 7 days, we will get a larger amount, around 39,000. And then, hopefully, by the end of the month, a further amount of about 93,000. So there is a supply. And those are commitments. Then we have possibilities or promises from the United States, not only of the donation vaccine, but we have reached out and made contacts with organizations and agencies within the United States who have surplus vaccine with soon to expire dates that we will get and manage with blitzes.
The last vaccine shipment to Jamaica was at the end of May. At that time, the ministry received 55,000 doses. Now, Giovanni, also, we have been speaking with Associate Professor at the School of Public Health at the University of Technology, Dr. Alveston Bailey. He provided some suggestions on the way forward. 8 weeks or 12 weeks, there's been much debate over when is the right time for persons to receive the second dose of the COVID vaccine. The Ministry of Health says Jamaicans have up to 12 weeks, although originally advising that the interval between the first and second dose is between 6 to 8 weeks. Weighing in, Associate Professor at the School of Public Health at the University of Technology, Dr. Alveston Bailey argues that persons have up to 16 weeks. After that, one may have to start the process all over again.
The first dose of the vaccine will give you about 70% efficacy. The second dose will give you 95%. The experts have advised that the ideal time to get the second dose is week 8 to 12. But in some instances, this could be extended to 16 weeks. I think after 16 weeks, the persons who have been vaccinated should consider perhaps starting the whole process all over.
Dr. Bailey is suggesting that the government consider a concept called mix and match. This means they can mix the AstraZeneca with another type of vaccine like Pfizer or Moderna. Dr. Bailey says other countries have been using it and so far it has worked.
The concept of mix and match was explored in Europe because they had a lot of vaccine hesitant persons who did not want to take the second dose of AstraZeneca. So trials have been conducted in Spain and in UK to look at adding the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine in particular to the AstraZeneca, and the results have been remarkable. The response to the Pfizer-Moderna shot with AstraZeneca has been extremely successful and can now be used.
Dr. Bailey also thinks the government should ramp up vaccine diplomacy by engaging other countries outside of those they're in consultations with. He argued that while Jamaica is expecting vaccines in the coming months, it is not guaranteed.
We have an opportunity that is beckoning to us, which is to use the Sinopharm or Sinovac vaccines made in China. These vaccines are easy to acquire. They should be cheap. They have been approved and they're safe and effective. We can also consider the Cuban option, which is also beckoning us. Why not grab the opportunity? The Sputnik V from Russia remains a reasonable option. Many Caribbean countries are using Sputnik V. Let us explore that opportunity.
Shamila Pullen, TVJ News. Of course, we will provide more details as this story unfolds. Giovanni, it's back to you.
Thanks so much, Shamil. And we're actually sticking on COVID-19 as 44 new cases of the virus were confirmed on Sunday from 770 samples. The country's overall case count now stands at 49,712. The positivity rate is 5.2%. One new death has been recorded, pushing the death toll to 1,034. In the meantime, 136 persons are hospitalized with the respiratory illness. 6 are critically ill. There are 19,517 active cases. And it's now time for the Business Minute. Here's Cody and Barrett.
In business news, more young persons are expected to be trained under the Global Services Sector project to build digital skill sets and improve the business process outsourcing industry. President of the Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, Diane Edwards, says it's a critical competitive factor for Jamaica to move up the value chain.
We always talk about doing more complex skills, more complex applications, and that means IT applications. So it means you have to learn to code Python. It means you have to learn software development, cybersecurity, some of those skills.
Sagicor Group Jamaica will be structuring a $285 million sale and a leaseback of the combined heat and power plant in Clarendon, owned by New Fortress Energy Incorporated NFE. Sagicor Group Jamaica entities will make an investment of over $100 million. It will be the largest corporate financing transaction in Jamaica's history. In addition to the Clarendon-based power facility, NFE has invested in 2 liquefied natural gas terminals located in Montego Bay, St. James, and Old Harbour, St. Catherine. And coming up in the business day this evening, Jamaica Producers Group outlines its performance for the last financial year. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
Now for a look at what's coming up in this evening's edition of A Ray of Hope.
Up in this evening's edition of A Ray of Hope.
The whiteboard now is bigger and it can hold a lot of information.
Class start 9 o'clock. And for the day of 8. You never do this, you don't get no fight. You just do it off your own free will.
One day, one of these students might become someone special. I'm glad that I was a part of their education or development.
That's A Ray of Hope, this evening during Primetime News.
And we now head to a quick break. When we come back, Renardo Brown will have your midday sports report.
Welcome back. It's now time for your midday sports. I'm Bernardo Brown. We start with the news on cricket as Keshav Maharaj became the second South African to take a hat-trick in Test cricket as West Indies lost 4 wickets for 17 runs just before lunch to be staring down the barrel of a 2-0 series defeat in St. Lucia. The hosts are 131 for 6 at sports time, needing 324 runs for victory. Resuming the day at 15 for none, the West Indies lost captain Craig Brathwaite for 6 and Shea Hope for 2. A third wicket partnership of 64 between Kyron Powell and Kyle Mears helped to settle some Caribbean nerves. But 17 runs after the dismissal of Mears for 34, Maharaj got 3 in a row, removing Powell for 51 and Jason Holder and Joshua Da Silva for first ball ducks. And the Caribbean side, they lost the first test by an innings and 63 runs. More cricket. India and New Zealand were frustrated by the weather again as another day of the World Test Championship final was completely washed out by rain. Only 141.1 overs have been possible so far, with New Zealand currently 101 for 2, trailing India by 116 runs. A reserve 6 days in place, so 2 days remain, but a draw is now the clear favourite for the inaugural final. Were that to happen, India and New Zealand would be crowned joint winners and would share their £1.7 million prize money pot. When play does restart, New Zealand captain Kane Williamson will be 12 not out, while Ross Taylor is yet to score, having faced 2 balls before bad light curtailed day 3. In basketball, the Atlanta Hawks are through to the Eastern Conference Finals of the NBA after recording a 103-96 win over the Philadelphia 76ers. Trae Young had a double-double, hitting 21 points to go with 10 assists for the Hawks. Joel Embiid had a game-high 31 points in a losing effort. And led by Devin Booker with his first career triple-double, the Phoenix Suns beat the Los Angeles Clippers 120-114 in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Booker scored 40 points and added 13 rebounds and 11 assists. Paul George scored 34 points for the Clippers. Game 2 takes place on Tuesday in Phoenix. And finally, 14-time winners Argentina will be looking to secure their passage to the quarterfinals of the Copa America as they face Paraguay and Brazil this evening. Argentina are second in Group A on 4 points, while Paraguay are third on 3 points. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock Jamaica time. At 4 o'clock, Uruguay will battle Chile. On Sunday, Peru defeated Colombia 2-1, while Venezuela and Ecuador drew 2-2. And that's it for your midday sports. Giovanni, it's back to you.
I was hoping your prediction for the West Indies in this game would have been wrong.
But I got it right.
But you got it
so
right.
far it's looking right. And the West Indies might bat one short because Roston Chase is suffering from a thigh strain, so he might not bat.
What's next for the Caribbean team?
We have Pakistan and also Australia to come, both series in the Caribbean, a couple limited overs. But before all Pakistan and Australia, we do have some limited overs game against South Africa. Let's see how that goes.
Do you think we'll do better against the other teams? It seems to be something with South Africa that's hindering our performance against them.
I can't put a finger on it, the reason why we haven't won a test series since about 1992. But hopefully, the ODI series will give us something to smile about.
Hopefully.
And the T20 series.
Hopefully. Well, that's the Midday News. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, the sports, and the production teams, have a good afternoon.